Alrighty, welcome to this video, and today we're going to be talking about the Altra Lone Peak 7. I've got them in my hand right here. So far I've travelled about 300 kilometres in them. As you can see, still in great condition. And so also what you're going to see in this video is some clips of the first run that I did in these shoes up the Lomond track down in Queenstown, New Zealand. Got really stunning 360 degree views at the top of the mountain. It was a really epic way to break in the shoes, and so I'll scatter some clips throughout this video of that run. But anyway, let's get into the full review. And so let's start off by talking about the overall ride and feel of the shoe. So what you're going to get from the shoe is the Ego midsole, and we're getting a 25mm stack height with the shoe. And as you can see, I've got them right here. They still are very flexible for a trail shoe. However, there is still some rigidity in the feeling of the run. So you're kind of getting a balance between a barefoot trail shoe and a more highly cushioned shoe. It's somewhere in between. So what you get is a very stable feeling underfoot. So they feel very stable and secure. They are rigid and hard enough to give you really sure footing on technical terrain, but they still have enough cushioning and bounce to soften your stride. However, they're not all the way on the other end of the spectrum like a more highly cushioned, plush, bouncy shoe that you might get nowadays. Those shoes that are somewhere above 30 mils of stack height. So if you're looking for something that's really soft and plush and bouncy, this may not be the shoe for you, as you do need to rely upon your own natural power and strength with the shoe to some degree. However, the trade-off there is that you get a lot of extra stability, so it's really great across a multitude of terrain. And they've also upgraded the outsole of the shoe. So compared to their predecessor, the Lone Peak 6, they've made the overall outsole material more sticky, more tacky, so it's going to grip down to terrain with give you more confidence underfoot. And they've also added some extra grip underneath the big toe and underneath the heel. And I was pleasantly surprised with how well this performed. So on the first run I did on the downhill, there was a lot of gravel and I felt really secure there. Since then I've run in the rain, in the mud in these shoes, along limestone, along grass, lots of different terrain. And so it's currently my hybrid shoe. So if I'm going for a run that involves both pavement or road and trails, I'll take this shoe out on those kind of runs. There is a little bit of sort of stickiness underfoot when you're running on road and pavement. You can almost feel the grip sort of grabbing a little bit. It doesn't really seem to affect my performance in any ways, but you can feel it on those surfaces. So there is that to consider, but it is very reliable and very stable over all terrain. So that's why it's my hybrid shoe. I have heard some people prefer the Ultra Outroad, which is designed to be a hybrid shoe, but that comes in a slimmer fit. So that's why I go for the Ultra Lone Peak instead. And speaking of fit, this shoe comes in the Ultra original foot shape. So this is their widest fit. And so if you've got wider feet, or if you just simply prefer a wider shoe, I think this will be a very good fit for you. It has a nice amount of room in the forefoot in both width and height. In the midsole, it's a little bit tighter. Sometimes I get a little bit of discomfort in the midsole. I feel I've got a bit of overhang with the foot there. But generally once I'm warmed up, there's no discomfort, and after the run my feet always feel great. So if you do have a slimmer foot, I think the shoe will still be a good fit for you, as the midsole, you can lock this down very well in the shoe. And then you still get that nice roominess in the toe box there. If you do have bigger feet, I believe this shoe also comes in a wider fit. So you've got two different options there, and you can always take the insole out as well to give you a bit more depth to the shoe if you need it. So this shoe comes in at around 314 grams for a men's. It's a little bit on the heavier side, but I don't really notice that extra weight too much when I'm out for my runs. We're only talking about the difference of 50 or so grams here, and it really doesn't seem to affect the run negatively. Also, it's not a performance-based shoe anyway, so we're not really looking for the need for a lightweight shoe when training in these shoes. And if the extra bit of weight means more security and a safer ride, then I think it's certainly worth it there. It seems to be a very durable shoe. Like I showed at the start of this video, it's still intact after 300 kilometers. The cushioning still feels fairly responsive as well. So in terms of bang for your buck, I think it really ticks all the boxes in that regard. Now in terms of the upper, if you can see it here, it's got a little bit of wiggle room there, but it's fairly secure. It's not too stretchy, so it's not stretchy like what you'd find in the Escalante 2.5s, for example, but it gives a nice enough bit of room while still feeling like it's got a good amount of lockdown in it. Also, as you can see here along the front there, we've got this extra bit of material which seems to just keep dirt and other things out of the shoe, which does seem to work really well. In wet conditions, if it's really raining heavy, I mean the shoes do get a little bit wet, but they do seem to perform very well in damp conditions. My feet still stay dry, so that's great. In terms of the tongue, they've added a really nice cushiony tongue. I know people have complained about some of the other Ultra shoes where they use a really thin tongue. Personally, I'm not too fussed about this design, but if you do like a nice, comfortable, cushioned feeling shoe, this is very comfortable all around. So not just the tongue, but also the heel cup. So the heel cup is nicely cushioned, it hugs the heel, and it feels really stable. Even when you're absolutely hooning downhill and hitting some technical terrain, it really sticks to the foot really well. And so that's something that I really appreciate in a trail shoe, because you're always going to be going over different varying undulating terrain, and there's always the chance of rolling the ankle a little bit and the shoe slipping around, but this shoe really does stay in place really well. And that's pretty much the main talking points I wanted to cover on this review. So basically, in a nutshell, if you're looking for a good hybrid shoe that's more tailored towards obviously trail running, a shoe that is very stable, secure and grippy, this is what you're going to get from the shoe. It still gives you a good amount of cushioning and bounce, but like I said, if you are needing a shoe that's softer and bouncier and very responsive, this may not be the shoe for you. However, if you need a reliable workhorse that is very comfortable on foot, then this is a really, really great shoe. It seems to be super durable so far. Like I said, I've covered 300 kilometers in it so far, and it's still going strong, still has its grip. There's no wear and tear on the upper. The insole is still in good condition, and the midsole bounce still seems to be there. So really great in that regard. And so if I've missed anything in this video, then just comment down below, let me know what you want to know about this shoe, and I'll be happy to reply to any comments. And that'll about do it for this video, so stay tuned. I've got more shoe reviews on the way and talking about all things training, running, exercising, all that cool stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.